Hi everyone, this is Deepak Ramola, and today I will be sharing with you 10 things to remember when you're moving back with parents as an adult.
The idea of living with parents is a very romanticized one. We grow up with them, we adore them, they understand us, we understand them, and then comes college or hostel life or school, boarding school, or a job, and you move away, and then you have your own set of life, rhythm, style, approach. And that gives you a lot of flexibility. And you come back after a few years back home to settle with your parents, and you realize something's not clicking. Things are not the same. I felt that when I moved from Dehradun to Mumbai, that sense of freedom, but that sense of also taking my own decisions, being my own independent person. When I moved back to Dehradun to live with my parents, the world had changed so much in 10 years, and my parents in it. And maybe for them, me too. In that process of settling back with them, I realized there are a few things that had to be readjusted. The compass of knowing each other had to be realigned to be able to live peacefully under the same roof, or we all would be screaming on each other all the time. If you are somebody who is moving back with parents, thanks to the pandemic, or somebody who's already moved back with the, back home with parents, I wanted to create this video particularly for you from my personal experience and the conversation I've had with many people in the last 2-3 years who have made that shift. So I wanted to share a list of 10 reflections with you if you are somebody who's considering or somebody who has recently moved back to live with parents as an adult. It's not an easy thing, and that's why this video is important. Take it from me. Number 1, negotiate, don't fight. We as independent thought leaders, our own people, and young energy like to approach every conversation as if we are fighting. We want to win. We want to win every argument. We want to win every issue that we have been thrown into. I realized many a times with your own parents, what you have to remember is not to fight, but to negotiate. Tell them what works for them, what works for you. And in allowing that, you will be able to understand how things are functioning. Are you being heard? Are you not being heard? Do they still see you as this young toddler child that they raised who hasn't really gained the world perspective, or do they see you as a mature individual with a sensibility, with a sensitivity to things, and that's where you can align. So don't fight, negotiate. Number 2, remember they are growing older as you are. We are not all the same age. And most of the times as children who want to be heard, who want to make a difference, who want to change the world at our own home, within our own, walls, we might feel stifled. We might feel like everybody's holding us down, nobody gets us, we have moved and changed. But it's just about I am the one who has changed. Least realizing that our parents who raised us in their 20s or 30s or maybe 40s are also growing old since we last left them. They are now in their later years, and their sense of perception, their know-how of the world is also evolving. Trying to find a common ground and acceptance for that will ease out this pressure of just you being noticed, but rather observing how they have changed in their aging process. Number 3, have an open conversation. Do not assume. I cannot emphasize this enough. As children, we think we know everything about our parents, as parents do. They assume everything about us and they say, we know our child. But when you do that, as a child, what it does is you come from a place of expectations about how your parents should behave because you have had certain exposure in life which they haven't had, but you're not giving them due credit for not knowing it. What I'm trying to say is, when you have a question, when you think you want to understand better what they're going through, how much things have changed, what is their opinion on certain things, ask them. Have a dialogue at the dinner table or over breakfast or over tea. Ask them in their voice their response to a certain situation. Don't assume things on their behalf. You will be pretty surprised how different it can be from what you anticipated or thought it would be. It's very, very important. Number 4, cooperation is a dance, not a war. And most of the times when we think we're cooperating, we are adjusting in our own house, we are going to war because everything is against us, or we are not feeling accepted or appreciated enough. I would encourage you to see cooperating in any family situation as a dance. 1 step I come forward, 2 steps you go back. And then we hold each other's hand and we take this whole circle and we come back. And sometimes maybe we will be offbeat, but most of the times we'll be conscious of not stepping onto each other's feet and giving each other room. When you see cooperation and adaptation and adjustment as a dance, not as a war, you will have so much bandwidth to take the conversation forward and not be screaming at each other all the time, which I did a lot of because I thought, here I am being understood by the world. Why is my family not understanding me or not accepting my career or having so many questions about everything? For me to see it as a dance allowed me to laugh about things that would get me worked up all the time, or the smaller things that would irk me, to start ignoring them and saying, it's all right, let's move on and let's talk about something else. That dance is something that you can choreograph better for your parents than they can for you. Number 5, don't lose patience. Explain better. We as young generation, I think, just demand to be understood by default. We talk in 140 characters, we think in captions, we think in TikToks and Reels, which are so short duration content that we want to be crisp and move on. But the generation our parents come from, or our guardians come from, if you're not living with parents, is a different generation. They read long from newspaper articles to get their information. They listened to radio broadcast of over an hour to understand one simple point. And they read books and they associated their sense of knowledge and information from a very different medium and through a very different process. Our briskness, our be quick about this, our quickies in conversations may not be adept in helping them. And that is why I suggest and request us all to give our parents a better shot in understanding things when we explain them better. A very simple example of this is when I was growing up, I would say to my parents, I want to do mass media. And they would say, no, please do engineering. Years later, I realized they said no is because they didn't know what happens in mass media. They only knew what happens in engineering. And if only I had spent that time walking them through the entire course and curricula, I would have had their support much earlier, which I eventually did, but I would have saved a lot of time. And so, when somebody knows better, they do better. The point of asking is, do you have it in you to help them know better? And hopefully, they will not only support, but cheer for you all the way. If you enjoyed watching this video, remember to subscribe, send this video to somebody who really is struggling with parents or deciding to move back. And thank you for watching.